in, everyone, and happy new moon in Taurus. It's very exciting to be having a new moon today, especially after all of the chaotic energy that has been the eclipse season and Mercury retrograde. We're finally out of that, which is so exciting. And welcome in if you're just now joining. Let me know in the comments how this new moon is treating you all, how everyone is feeling. Hopefully you're having a good new moon experience. So today is the new moon in Taurus, which is really funny because this Taurus card keeps coming out like full moon in Taurus, even though today is the new moon in Taurus, which is such an incredibly grounding energy. And it's so delightful and like a breath of fresh air, especially after all the chaos that has been like the past month and just a lot of things being brought up to the surface between Mercury retrograde and eclipse season. So you may have had like people coming out from the past or just having to work through difficult experiences or emotions, but know that like that energy is cleared and now we're stepping into this like new moon in Taurus, which is so exciting. It's a very grounding new moon. It is all about grounding your reality, being practical and focusing on your dreams. So today is actually a really good time to set some intentions and manifest. So today I'm going to walk through some things that we can do to manifest on this new moon. I'll do a collective reading as well, and depending on how everyone is feeling, I might do a guided meditation also. So on the new moons, I typically do guided meditation healings through my website. Sometimes I'll do them live on TikTok as well. But we'll start off with manifesting for this new moon. So Taurus tends to operate in the second house of astrology, which is all about our finances. And so that really just very much showcases like the energy and effort that we should be focusing on during the new moon. So whenever a new moon or a full moon goes into a specific sign in astrology and it's related to a specific house, whatever that house focuses on is really what you should spend that time focusing on during that moon cycle. That is, if you want to get more in touch with the moon, get more in touch with your surroundings, get more in touch with nature, following the moon can be really helpful for just getting more in touch with the world around you, nature, and also yourself, as we operate in cycles and seasons. And it can be really helpful to just tap into the energy of the moon to work with whatever is being brought up with that specific moon cycle, but also to just better ourselves and work and improve ourselves. So with the new moon in Taurus, which I personally love this energy, I'm a super like water sign, so I just love grounding energy because it's like exactly what I need all the time. Taurus is an earth sign, so it's incredibly grounding. It is sometimes known as a stubborn energy if you have any Taurus in your chart, but it is a very grounding energy. And because it operates and focuses on the second house in astrology, which is all about finances, it is such a powerful new moon to manifest. So in general, new moons are all about like starting something new, and full moons are about closing cycles out. So, and both of them happen like once a month. And so the new moon is a great time to focus on what you want to achieve in the next month. And it just sets as a great marker to sort of like keep track of like your month to month cycles in life, and see what patterns come up and what you can work on. So with the new moon in Taurus, focusing on finances, it's a really great time to manifest really anything that you would like in your life, but specifically finances, as Taurus is very strongly related to finances. But also I recommend like pulling up your chart. There's a lot of free online charts that you can pull up. You just have to type in like your birth date and place of birth and all that information and see where Taurus is in your chart. So yes, Taurus rules the second house. Okay, I'm back. Yes, Taurus rules the second house, but it also might rule a specific area in your chart. So say like Taurus might be in the 6th house or the 10th house, or you might have many planets in Taurus. So it could be really helpful when you want to focus in on the energy of the specific moon cycles, whatever sign that moon is in, for you to check out your birth chart and see what house that falls under, and just do some like little Googling research and then see. Thank you so much, David, for the follow. I appreciate you. And just see where that falls and just doing some research and then focusing your energy on that. So for example, new moons are a great time to manifest, and looking at where Taurus falls in your chart might be that's the area that you really should be focusing on manifesting. So it could be about like your career or home or many different things. But in general, if you didn't have time or want to look into that more deeply, I recommend finances is always a great to start. If there's any new projects that you're trying to bring about, and thank you DWAP for following me as well. I appreciate you. So if there's any specific like new projects you're trying to start at this time, now is a really good time to manifest. And by manifest, it's all about like setting intentions about wanting to bring something new into your life and then planting seeds to make it happen. So a lot of times we get lost in our manifestations when we just like wish for something to happen, but don't actually take tangible steps. So Taurus is all about like tangibility and taking active steps to fulfilling fulfilling our dreams ultimately. So it's a great grounding energy to do so. And setting those seeds of intentions. So for the new moon in Taurus, I specifically recommend manifesting. One of my favorite manifestation techniques is super simple. And all you have to do is, I usually like to like calm my mind a little bit, put on some relaxing music, close my eyes for at least like 60 seconds just to like calm and center the body. If you can meditate for up to 5 minutes, I highly recommend it. And just simply, and meditating, I feel like a lot of times seems like this like grandiose, complicated thing. I think sometimes how we view things makes such a big difference and is ultimately shapes our reality. So when we view like meditating as this like, oh, like I can't do that, I can't still my mind, that's really difficult. Thank you, Joe, for the follow. I appreciate you. When we operate in that mentality, we like make it this big grandiose thing that's unachievable. And I actually find like meditation can be really easy when we just simply say like, I just want to close my eyes and like rest and relax for a minute. Like anyone can do that. Like that is a really wonderful, enjoyable thing. So when we reframe meditation to that, I find it's a lot easier because like, of course we all want to like close our eyes and like take a moment to like relax and wind down. So when you want to manifest something, I highly recommend meditating for like 1 to 5 minutes, longer if you have, but just like putting on like relaxing, even like spa music or like Hertz frequency music that you can find on YouTube, and just like having a moment to just rest and relax, and then getting out a piece of paper, writing down everything that you want to bring into your life. And that can be in the next week, in the next month, maybe even in the next year, everything that you would like to bring in. And folding that piece of paper then towards you is really important, because when we do that, we're bringing the energy in towards us. So like releasing ceremonies will be much more like folding it away from you because you want to release it. So making sure after you write all the things that you want to bring into your life, folding it in towards you and setting the intention that you want to bring these things into your life. The next step will be to visualize. This can be easy or difficult depending on if you're like a visualization kind of a person, but spending time and visualizing, bringing these things in. What does your life look like when you have these new things that you're trying to manifest into your life? What does it look like? And then like visualizing it actually existing in your reality. And the second step after that is going to be feeling it. So like genuinely feeling what it feels like to have those new things. So when you want to manifest things into your life and have them come in quickly, it's really important to get A, clear on what you want to manifest, B, visualize those things existing in your reality. Sometimes it can be really difficult, especially if we're trying to manifest like really big things. And then C, it's really important to feel the emotions. Essentially with manifesting, and if anyone's read any like Joe Dispenza books, he talks a lot about this, that feeling the emotions of what you're going to feel if you already had those things in your life is the quickest way to bringing them into your reality. So it's really important to try to embody that. And I know a lot of times, especially if we're trying to manifest like a feeling or a mindset, it can be difficult when like we're so used to operating in a different mindset that it feels like a challenge to then operate, like to feel the emotions of something that we're not used to feeling. You know, especially if like we're used to operating in a sense of lack, then it can be difficult to feel the feelings of abundance, which is the opposite of lack, right? So, but like practice makes perfect, and just practicing this is like really helpful. So after you write your list, folding it in towards you, and then each item that you have that you want to manifest on your list, taking time to visualize it. After you visualize it, taking time to feel the emotions. Feel the emotions of what it feels like to have those things into your life, whether it's like a new home, a new job, a new relationship, a new friendship, a new mindset, a new habit, belief, whatever it is, and taking the time to feel all those emotions. And the next step is release it. So I recommend in a safe space, like burning that piece of paper with all your manifestations on it, releasing it out to the universe that it's like, these are the things I wanted. I visualized it. I felt the emotions of having them, and then you release it. It's a very important part of the manifestation step, because when we hold on to things, it actually like breeds a sense of lack, and it takes then longer for those things to come to our reality. So, you know, when we say like, oh, I really want like $1 million, for example, if you're constantly focusing on it, or like, I really want this dream job or this dream house, like if you're always like, I just really want this thing, it's actually operating from a sense of lack, because like your current reality is so tied to the need of this thing. And thank you, Leo, for the follow. I super appreciate you. So when we're tied to it, it doesn't come to us, because we're showing the universe that it's like, I need this thing. And then it's like, well, we're not going to like really give you that, because you're coming from a place of lack and like needing, versus like, no, I deserve this and I have this already. Thank you, Health, Family, Wealth. I love the name. And yeah, so it's very like, lost my train of thought. What was I saying? But it's really important to essentially do all, like, be cognizant of all these things when manifesting. Because, and you know, me too, like this is something that I'm constantly working on, especially, yes, with money. And it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I really need this dollar amount in my bank account this month, or I really need to make this amount, or like, I really want to make this amount. But when we keep thinking like, I need this, I want this, I want this, it's actually pushing it further away from our reality. So it's actually important to recognize like, I deserve this amount of money, like $1 million for an example. It's like, I deserve to have $1 million. So I am going to visualize what it looks like, visualize what it looks like in my bank account, visualize what it feels like to have that much money, visualize what I would do with that money. It's so funny because oftentimes, especially in capitalist societies, we always want like a certain dollar amount in our bank accounts. It's what we're taught, it's how we're bred. And a lot of times it's like, okay, well, what actually would happen if you had that amount? And a lot of times I find the universe won't give you something if you don't actually know what you're going to do with it. It's like the dog chasing a car. It's like, if you, like, once he catches the car, like, what's he gonna do with it? You know? So I think it's also really important to be clear about your intentions, about what, like, why you want that amount, if it's money, and what you would do with it is so important. So, like, I've even had to think about this myself, right? It's like, okay, if I had that amount of money, what would I do with it? And then it's like, if you don't know the answer to that, the universe isn't going to give it to you. Like, it's not going to just like gift you stuff you don't know what to do with. It's only going to gift you things that you're an energetic match for. And a lot of this stems with like operating and removing senses of lack, because that's ultimately what holds us back from manifesting things into our reality, is when we operate from like a sense of, I don't have this and I need it, it just doesn't come to us. And then we get frustrated and it doesn't work. So with manifesting, full circle, it's really important to set the intention, visualize, feel it, and then release it. Completely release it and don't think about it anymore. The next follow-up step to all of this that people forget, and like when they don't have things come to them, they get really frustrated and then don't believe in manifestation, even though it's really powerful, taking tangible steps to make it happen. So release the end goal of like, I'm gonna have this amount of money, I'm gonna have whatever the end goal is, and writing down then a list of all the steps you need to take to get there. You know, for example, if you want $1 million in your bank account, what does that look like? Where is that money coming from? Is it coming from stocks? Is it coming from your personal business? If it's coming from your business, what are you selling that's going to equate that? Is it like $500 programs? How many of those do you need to sell? How many clients do you need? And like literally tangibly writing those down. And that even like helps to further manifest, because you're showing to yourself, and then your subconscious takes this in, as well as showing the universe, like, this is the exact way I want to do this. And then the universe is like, okay, then we'll bring it for you. And a lot of it comes into just like then trust, which, believe me, trust is really difficult in general in life, but also just like trusting in the universe and in your manifestations, especially when we don't have like time frames of when we're going to get things in by. So it's like, if we don't have, you know, like if we're like, when am I going to get this? Like the universe is like just going to make you wait longer. So it's important to write down the tangible steps of how it's going to happen, and then like break those into baby things, like steps that you can do each day, and how you can make those happen. So those baby steps can like look like whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, like the tiniest little thing, but they add up to achieving the larger goal. So like all these things are really important, and it's just such a powerful new moon that we have today to plant seeds of intention to manifest, especially with money, since Taurus operates in the second house in astrology, all about finances. So it's really helpful to ground down any like money intentions or finance intentions today, write down the goals, visualize, feel it, burn it, release it, and then start taking tangible steps in your everyday reality to making that happen. And just watch the seeds blossom. It's, yeah, exactly. $1 million is $2,379 per day. And just thinking like, how can you achieve that? Like, what could you possibly do to achieve that kind of money? Writing down those steps, whether it's, you know, whatever that is, like certain investments or like selling something online, selling something in person, whatever it is. And then you can make it happen. Like, it is possible. And it's believing yourself is the biggest battle too, I think. And it's like having that courage and confidence within ourselves, to believe it. Because that's the thing is, like, when we set massive goals for ourselves, if you don't believe it, the universe isn't going to give it to you. I'm going to tell you that right now. Like, if you don't believe in your core that you deserve it and that it's going to happen, you're not going to get it. Like, the most important thing in life is for you to believe in yourself. Thank you, Thomas, for the follow. I super appreciate you. So it's just the most important thing. And it's something that I've been working on a lot this past year. And believing in yourself is the most important thing in life, because if you don't believe in yourself, how is anybody else supposed to? And sometimes when we have other people believe in us, when we don't believe in ourselves, it can be helpful, but they really ultimately can't make you believe in yourself. Only you can do that for yourself. And it is a personal growth journey. It is something that is very individualized. It's something that you have to work on yourself. And the sooner that you believe in yourself, and the sooner that you believe in what you're trying to call into your life and believe in your manifestations, that's when it's going to start to happen. Like, that's when you can bring things into your reality, but you have to believe in yourself first. And that can take a lot of time. I can like talk more about that as well, but it's just like, there's so many things you can do, whether it's working on negative thought patterns, releasing negative thoughts, working on your solar plexus. So in yoga, we have 7 different main chakras, which are energy centers in the body. The solar plexus is related to our sense of self. It's where our stomach is. It's related to our ego. It's our confidence. It's how we show up in the world. It also is responsible for our sense of lack. It's responsible for if we're not feeling good enough, if we are operating in any sense of fear. That's all based in the solar plexus. So there's so many things you can do to help improve yourself, your well-being, but also to help just have faith in yourself and faith in your dreams and believe in yourself so that you can bring things into your reality that you're trying to achieve and manifest. So there's so many things you can do with the solar plexus chakra that can help bring that in. So if you're into crystals, there's many different crystals that are associated with the solar plexus chakra. Getting those and incorporating them into your surroundings, or bracelets, like crystal bracelets, that can be really helpful. Doing specific yoga as well that focuses on the solar plexus. One of my favorite I've recently discovered is like taking a yoga block and like literally placing it like where your solar plexus or stomach is. And like, you'll sort of be in a plank position, but like resting on the earth with your belly down, and having that block sort of like in your stomach, you'll realize like how much tension you might be holding in the belly area. And this is like below the rib cage. But there's certain things that you can do. Thank you, Frank, for sharing the live. I appreciate you. There's certain things that you can do. And if this resonates, double tap the screen. And so there's certain things you can do, especially with yoga, to open up specific areas in the body. So of course, like heart chakra is related to love and hearts, like feeling, like heart-like feelings. So you can do different yoga poses to help open up your heart chakra if you're feeling like loss or grief, or want to feel more self-love, like that's all in the heart chakra region. And like the sacral chakra, which is like where our sexual organs are, is all about creativity. So if you're not feeling creative, or your like sex drive's really low, like you can work on your solar plexus, not your solar, but your sacral chakra. Your root chakra, just below that, is like feeling connected to yourself, feeling a oneness with yourself, focusing on the crown chakra. There's different yoga poses for each of these. You can also do different meditations to open up different chakra centers. But basically, the chakras can be heavily related to what you're trying to manifest. So how you manifest things is by removing blocks that aren't serving you into your life, so you can embody and feel those feelings of what you want to bring into your life. So that being said, I find incorporating the chakras into manifesting to be really helpful, because you can basically focus on a specific area point that you're trying to cultivate in your life. And the more you open that area up and work on it, it will help to bring in the manifestations that you're trying to bring in. So, money, for example, like trying to manifest finances, a lot of times if you don't feel like confident in your ability to do that, working on the solar plexus chakra, if you don't feel safe to have that amount of money, like a lot of times if people say like, oh, if you had, like say $10 million, people feel uncomfortable with that. Like if you're not used to that amount of money, you feel like it's like not safe to have that amount of money. So if that's a feeling that you have, working on the root chakra is going to be really helpful and important. And thank you for everyone who is liking the screen. I appreciate you. So really focusing on which chakra needs to be like developed and strengthened can really help with your manifestations. If this is also something that you really want to work with, I do one-on-one coachings and would love to help guide you through working and balancing out your chakras, not only for your well-being and to help regulate your like nervous system, but also to help bring in manifestations into your life. Can be really, really helpful. So that's sort of a long-winded explanation as to manifestation, but also how you can bring these things in for the new moon in Taurus, which I'm just like so happy this energy is finally here, because I just love Taurus energy. My like watery self, I'm just like all about it, grounding, just like it's such a great, wonderful feeling. Some other things you can do to tap into this healing energy of the new moon in Taurus is ground yourself. So go outside, spend time in nature. If you don't have nature that's accessible, try to get your feet on the earth, even if it's for 5 or 10 minutes, preferably 15 minutes a day. But just simply placing your bare feet on the earth can be really helpful to ground down. So when we ground, we actually can get more in touch with nature, get in touch with the surroundings, but also it allows us to feel like a sense of peace, safety, and security. So when we're grounded, we feel safe and present. And that can be really, really helpful and impactful when, like, just for our own personal health, but also to tap into this energy of like the new moon in Taurus. So that's one of the things you can do. And oftentimes when we ground, we feel more connected to the people around us, connected to nature. It regulates our nervous system. It helps reduce stress levels. It is so helpful and impactful in so many areas and ways of our life, but also can help you to really see what you want. Because a lot of times when you want to manifest and you aren't actually, hey Mark, how is it going? When you want to manifest and you're not really sure how to do so, or what you want to manifest. A lot of times, like if you don't have a direction in life, like how are you going to know what to manifest, or like what you're trying to manifest might change every week because you're not clear on what you actually want. And I find grounding can be really helpful to bring clarity, because it's like removing all the noise. It's like removing all the garbage that's like around us all the time, trying to influence us. And when you ground just with like your feet on the earth, no phone, don't be on your phone. Try not to be, but like ground with your feet on the earth and just like look at a plant or like look at nature or the sky. The sky is very beautiful, clouds, just like have a moment in nature, do that. And you'll get more clear on what you actually want to bring into your life. Like your soul will speak to you and say like, I need this, or I want this. And you might not have recognized what you actually want until you take time to ground and like calm down your energy. And you'll be really like, it'll be really interesting to see how you feel when you do that and what you want to bring into yourself. It's going. Oh, Mark. Well, I hope things like are on the up and up and that you're not overworking yourself too much. I'm doing well. I'm a little bit sleepy, but that's okay. Well, we're like moving through. I had coffee today, so that was really nice. But I'm just super excited about this new moon in Taurus. So I wanted to come on and chat a little bit about some things that we can do for the new moon. I did go through and talk about how we can manifest with the new moon, as like we're finally out of eclipse season and Mercury retrograde. So it's like a really good time to plant seeds of intentions and meditate as well. It's just a really wonderful new beginning energy. So really like trying to cultivate and call in like what you want to bring into your life. At this time, it's such an important time to do so. And I'm not recording this live, but I do think you can have like access to the recordings after you end a live, or like I think TikTok records it for you. I'm not really sure. But yeah, I feel like I just was like had to come on here and like share all these things with everybody. I do want to pull like a couple of cards before I hop off. I have a tarot reading to get to after this. So I will pull a couple of cards for the collective. If you have any questions about any of the things I've been talking about, I'm happy to answer them in the chat. As I would love to share and talk about anything relating to the moon, what to do with different moon cycles, or any questions about manifesting, or how to ground your energy, or how to regulate your nervous system. I'm like nervous system regulation queen. I am super passionate about helping people to reduce stress levels and regulate their nervous system. And if you have any questions about how to do that, I would love to help. Oh, thank you so much, Health Family Wealth. I super appreciate you. I did feel really called to share, and I know I need to come on TikTok live more and make it more regular. So that's something that a seed of intention I'm trying to plant for myself. And then, like we talked about, taking tangible steps to actually making it happen. Ooh, I love that. Yeah, so there's so many different, for lack of better words, like witchy things that we can do to help bring things into our lives. Oh, I love that. A big one too is like cinnamon. There's so many different things and like tips and tricks. I'm not it sort of falls into the camp of like spells. I'm not as much of like a spells guru. My forte falls more into like wellness and like moon things, but like all things related to the moon. But I do know to help manifest, there's so many different things you can do, and that sounds like a really great technique with like the 3 coins and basil. I also do know that cinnamon carries a lot of like wealth energy. So a lot of people on the first of the month will like blow cinnamon into their home to help bring in like abundance and prosperity. You can also get candles that have cinnamon in it. And also doing that, not necessarily the first of the month, for the new moons as well. So I know cinnamon holds a lot of like abundant wealth energy for those like looking for like that type of practice. So there's so many things that we can do, right? And do what you feel called to do. Like if you feel called to do something specific, like do that. If you hear something and you're not really like feel called to do it, then don't do it. Like the most important thing with incorporating any practice into your life is do what you feel called to do or what resonates with you. So for example, like if you're in this live and you've been in here for a minute and I resonate with you, there's a reason you're supposed to be here, right? Maybe there's like pieces of knowledge that you're supposed to take in from this live. There's a reason truly for everything. And so much of my life I operated on going back and forth between like, is there a reason for everything, or is everything just like random and a chance? But like, no, I strongly believe that like there is a reason for everything. So if you're feeling called to do something, whether it's like take a class or start a mentorship with somebody or start a new job or a new relationship, if you feel called to do something, do it. If you have any reservations about doing something, listen to that too, because both of those are your intuition trying to guide you. And I think a lot of times with all the noise going on in our life, like we don't spend time like truly with ourselves to hone in on our intuition, to listen and figure out what our intuition is trying to tell us. Or a lot of times we'll get like tiny little inklings, but not actually like, I don't know the word I'm trying to use, but like not actually like believe it. But it's important. Like if we're getting even tiny little feelings about something, it's important to recognize and listen to those. Thank you, Andros, for the follow. I super appreciate you. And double tap that screen if it's resonating. I appreciate all of you that are sending the likes. Yes, nervous system. So I'll talk a little about nervous system, then I'll pull some cards, and I got to get to my tarot reading. But nervous system regulation. Okay, so I grew up in the US. Feel free to share where you're coming in from in the chat or where you're at. And the US, is in many, many cultures in like first world capitalism, push us to our limits, right? Grind culture is very much a thing that we're ingrained to. Oh my, Wisconsin, I've heard it's lovely in Wisconsin. I've never actually been, but I've heard it's amazing. And thank you for sharing. So yeah, so being in the US, or even if you're not in the US, you might feel the effects of capitalism, where, you know, we're very much told and bred to work really hard, then work really hard, and not really prioritize ourselves or prioritize taking care of ourselves. And it's interesting to see like the self-care industry coming in, that it's also be mindful about buying stuff. So it's like, oh, well, if you buy this thing, you'll feel better about yourself. And it's like, you know, I'm very weary about that, because it's just like trying to keep us in like the wheel of buying stuff. and not actually teaching us tangible skills to take care of ourselves, which is the most important thing. So grind culture is definitely a priority. Overworking ourselves, having that 9-to-5 job, like overdoing, just like basically being chained to our jobs, right? That is how we define ourselves. It's really interesting, especially after like living in first world countries, third world countries, in different parts of the world. It's really fascinating to me, like those first world countries and cultures where like we define ourselves by our jobs. And I spent literally like 30 years of my life defining myself, or like about that, like defining myself by what we do, because we spend so much of our life doing it. That's how we define ourselves. And when you go to places in the world that aren't like capitalism focused, that they don't define themselves on their jobs, it's fascinating, because the first thing out of people's mouths isn't like, hi, like I'm Teal, I'm a lawyer, or whatever it is, and it's like that. You might know someone for months before you actually get to know what they do for a living, which to me, that's like connecting with people on a different level. And I hope that more people in the world can start connecting like that, because I think that is the type of connections that we need to exist more. But anywho, so nervous system regulation, I can definitely go on some tangents, but basically grind culture in the US or a lot of capitalistic countries keeps us on the hamster wheel. It keeps us overworking because we're told our worth is associated with the amount that we work. False. Okay. It's something that we are conditioned to believe, and they do a really good job about it since like day one, kindergarten, basically. And it can really wreck our nervous system. So when we are constantly working, constantly in grind mode, and I was an overachiever. Like I excelled in college. I excelled in all the careers that I had. I was obsessed with like rising the corporate ladder, making as much money as I could. That was my life. Because like that's how we're bred to believe, is like this is success, and this is what you have to do to achieve it. And especially if you're like an A-type overachiever personality, you can get caught in that. And it started to really wreck my nervous system. I wasn't sleeping well. My mental health was like really struggling. I like felt like shit. I didn't feel healthy. I was just like constantly exhausted, developed chronic fatigue. Like it was just like not... Grind culture is not good for our nervous system. It's not good for our health in any way, shape, or form, but it's something that we are told to prioritize because like we have to prioritize our work because it's our life, and that's just not true. Like it is true if you make it true, but it doesn't have to be true. So it basically completely wrecked my nervous system. Also being like, for me personally, also being in situations that might wreck your nervous system. So that can be abusive relationships. It can be natural disasters. Literally anything that makes you not feel safe in your body or your surroundings damages your nervous system. So all these things combined, like my nervous system was like absolutely wrecked. And I spent the last couple of years repairing it because it was like really not in a good place. Some signs that your nervous system is wrecked is chronic fatigue or feeling jumpy, anxiety. If you are just like struggling to regulate your emotions, if you're struggling to maintain energy levels, there's so many different signs and symptoms of like a dysregulated nervous system. And yes, the rat race is never ending. I'm just catching up on these. Oh, always love like the Jesus people. So funny. I'm going to block this person. I'll mute you. You can watch my stuff, but I'll just mute you. But yeah, the rat race is never ending. And right now, so I actually am in Bali. So I moved here in January. I'm from California, but and most of my clients are in the US, American, or Australian actually. Because I think I'm like sort of in this part of the world. But so me moving here was a big step in just listening to myself and where I felt called to be in the world. There's so many different healing modalities here in Bali that I really want to learn and absorb so that I can help share so many things about me living here with others, specifically like healing modalities, ways to calm the nervous system. Yeah, the rat race is definitely never ending. And I feel you. Chronic fatigue is awful. It is really, really difficult, but also know that like if you really prioritize your health, you can overcome chronic fatigue. It can take months and years, but if you're dedicated to it, there's so many things you can do to help with it. And it's something that like I've tried it all, and like different things resonate with different people, but it's like acupuncture regularly, different supplements regularly, yoga practices, mindfulness techniques, meditation practices. Like I've tried so many things over the course of years to try to work on my chronic fatigue, and I finally feel like I'm in a space where I'm releasing it, and it's so good. A lot of times too, like deprogramming ways of being can take time. And if we're used to operating in like an excess energy of like, it's basically fight or flight. Like capitalism makes us operate in fight or flight. So when we're operating that energy, it depletes our energy reserves. And when that happens in extreme, it leads to chronic fatigue. So it's really important to be mindful of our energy levels at all times. Adrenal fatigue is really real, and it's like very much associated with chronic fatigue. And it's not something that like a weekend trip away fixes. And I think that's like everything in the US and in other places in the world too are very much like quick fix it cultures. Like, oh, are you drained? Just take 2 days off. You'll be fine. And it's like, if you're dealing with like chronic fatigue or chronically being overworked, like 2 days is not gonna fix it. Like it's gonna be a journey. It's gonna be months. It might be years of you being dedicated to your health and your well-being so that you can get out of that state and supporting yourself along that process. It is like you have to be very dedicated to wanting to help yourself. And that's something that I'm really passionate about sharing, is like for me to help my well-being and wellness, I had to be like 110% dedicated. And there were moments where it dropped down to 70, went to 90, went to 150, dropped down to 70 in terms of like percentage levels of like, you know, when we're used to programming that's not focused on our well-being, it takes time to be dedicated towards it. So being gentle with ourselves along that process, but you really have to be dedicated in the long run to helping yourself first. And those are the kinds of people and clients that I work with, are people that are dedicated to wanting to help themselves, are dedicated to wanting to make a change in their life. Because if you're not really dedicated towards it, you're not going to make any changes. Like if you're not passionate about finding help to improve your well-being, it's not going to happen. So I really only work with people who are dedicated to wanting to change their lives for the better, wanting to heal their nervous system, wanting to reduce stress levels, and not like a quick fix it, like, oh, I did one meditation, now I'm good, or like I did one weekend retreat, now I'm good. Like people that genuinely want to have a better life for themselves, want their health to improve and be better, want their well-being and wellness. They want to prioritize themselves. Like that is really, really important. So those are the kinds of people that I work with. And if you haven't checked it out already, check out my website, link in bio. I have so many different wellness modalities that I share with people. I do some lives as well of like guided meditations. I was hoping to get to one today, but it didn't happen. We ended up just chatting. But I do so many different things to help people improve their wellness. And one of my favorite things is moon healing. So this morning, or it was actually your evening, my morning, but at 6 p.m. Pacific time, I did a wonderful new moon healing meditation. And this is a yoga nidra meditation that is super potent and one of the most transformative things you can do for your nervous system. It helps to regulate and reset your nervous system. And it's so powerful. It's one of the most powerful healing modalities that I've personally found in all the places I've lived and traveled and all of the people that I've studied with. It's helped me to regulate my nervous system. It's incredible. So I host that every new moon and a full moon. And it's about 60 to 90 minutes, but it's such a wonderful space to like nourish yourself, feel rejuvenated. You literally just have to lie down. It's yoga nidra is basically called yoga sleep. It's the yoga of sleeping, but you remain aware and awake. So you essentially lie down and it's like a beautiful guided meditation. It's a body scan and a beautiful like written meditation that I write myself. And it helps you to just like nourish yourself, feel rested, rejuvenated. Studies literally show that like 30 to 60 minutes of yoga nidra is equivalent to 4 to 8 hours of sleep, which is so powerful. That's how healing it is. It helps you to go, like move through the brain waves, to help you rest and recover. So I don't even like calling it a guided meditation because like, to be honest, it's so much more than that. But it is, because guided meditation, the focus is on like meditating. The focus with yoga nidra is to not focus on anything and to just like release, relax, and enjoy. And it is so yummy and nourishing and lovely. And I love syncing them with the moon cycles because lunar energy naturally has such a like healing quality to it that I love sharing it with yoga nidras because they make it just like it's such a beautiful combo of like nourishment and soothing and healing. It's just such a lovely combo. So definitely check it out. I'm hosting a full moon healing Nidra in 2 weeks, or a little bit less than 2 weeks. It'll be June 1st. But anywho, so that's one of the things I like to do to regulate nervous system. It's so powerful. I also incorporate some like moon healing items within it, whether it's like manifesting or whatever it's going on with that specific moon cycle. I love to incorporate that into that as well. It's such a powerful thing to do. But yeah, I also do coaching one-on-one with people to help people regulate their nervous system, also balance out their chakras, really any area of wellness that they're looking to embody and empower in their lives. I customize things for all my private clients. I also include like a wellness guide that's tailored just for you and your needs. That's literally all about like balancing out every area in your life, whether it's emotional, mental, spiritual, physical, making sure all of those wellness goals that you have set for yourself are achievable, but also helping to bring your life into like full holistic balance is really important to me. So definitely check out my website. I did it all on my own. I'm very proud of it. Okay, I'm going to pull a couple cards. I'm going to get off here. I know I've said that like a million times, but I'm going to do it. Okay. Let's see, what does the TikTok collective need to hear today? Oh, I love that. Okay. What does the TikTok collective need to hear? I love this so much. Okay, so the first card that came out is Expect Powerful Change. This card is the New Moon Eclipse card. So this is so beautiful. So we're definitely in a new era right now, since we're done with the eclipse season, which was like rough, and Mercury retrograde, which was a lot. It is time for new beginnings, new moon in Taurus. It's all about new beginnings, but it's also about powerful change. So it's like, this is the time, if you're looking to change anything in your life, call it in, bring it in now. This is like the time for new beginnings. It's the time to bring things in. So expect powerful change. It's happening. And then the next card that came out is Show the World the Real You, which I love this for everyone in this live, but also for myself, because this is something that can be really challenging to do, to be authentic to ourselves, which I love. I'm also burning this beautiful candle that is Spirit Guide Apothecary candle, and it's all about authenticity and perspective. So important to be authentic to ourselves and show up authentically in the world, okay? So, and it can be really challenging, especially if we're worried or concerned about what people are going to think about us, whatever that might be. But no, if we're always worried or concerned about what other people are thinking about us, we're not living in our truth. But it's hard not to operate in that. So this card is really talking about show the world the real you. Is there any areas in your life that you have been holding back? Ask yourself why. Have like an honest conversation with yourself. Like, why are you holding back? How can you show up more authentically in your everyday life? What can you do to show the world the real you? This comes back down to solar plexus work, which we were talking about earlier. So operating in your sense of self and your sense of power, dancing can be an incredible modality to open up our sense of self, to show up authentically. And it can take time, like with anything, whether it's like healing our nervous system, it takes time. Showing up authentically, feeling empowered to do so, can take time. Listening to specific music that makes you feel empowered is also so powerful and so healing. Thank you to everyone who is liking the live as well. I super appreciate you. But it is so true. So I personally am in a Beyonce era, is what I'm calling it. And when I need to embody like my true self, and it's like even that, like, you know, any parts of us that feel like scared or that are not enough, like when I listen to Beyonce, those parts just go away and we can embody that energy. So that's an example of like music I listen to empower my solar plexus, empower myself so that I have the courage and confidence to show up as my true self that I need to show up in the world. It is time to show the world the real you. It's time. Whatever that looks like, it can be to your close friends, it can be online, it can be in your workplace, it can be in your relationship. Be authentic. Show the world the real you. It is very important. And the last card, or bottom of the deck energy, is it's time to take action. More new moon energy. What's interesting about this that we were talking about is like after we manifest things, it's important to take tangible steps and action to make it happen. This is a sign that after you write down your list of things that you want to manifest, take tangible steps and action to make it happen. if we just write down what we want, send it out to the universe, we're not showing our effort in trying to bring those things into our reality. So it's important to take time, to take action, to make our dreams become a reality. So I'm going to end the reading there. And I appreciate every one of you who has been in this live since the beginning, who's been tapping the screen. I appreciate all of you so much. And if you aren't already, hit the follow button. I'm going to try to go on live more regularly. I do post lots of content about how to tap into the energy of the moon as well as regulate your nervous system. Both things that I am very, very dearly passionate about. And if you haven't already, check out my website, underthemoonwithteal.com. And I hope to see you all soon in another live. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I will be also posting a guiding healing meditation for the new moon in Taurus on my website as well. But spend some time, take care of yourself, manifest, and empower yourself to be your true, authentic self. So yes, thank you so much. Take care. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day or evening.